discussed how Imam Hussein's character and his movement have been manipulated and distorted over time. But the same thing has been done to his son Imam Zainul Abidin as well. Imam Zainul Abidin ibn Mar, or Imam Zainul Abidin the Sick One, is a popular title of Imam Sajjad used throughout the world. But this is not an official title of his like Zainul Abidin or Sajjad. It is just a title that has grown popular over time. So then why do we insist on calling him the Sick One? Imam Zainul Abidin was only ill when the event of Karbala occurred, and this very illness saved his life. This illness was an act of Allah's mercy, because Imam Sajjad had to survive the event of Karbala. He was the next Imam, and all the remaining Imams come from his lineage, so the sickness acted as a shield for him and protected the chain of Imamate. They wanted to kill the Imam several times, but as he was seriously ill, they would leave him, saying, "Why should we kill him? He is dying already." Who in this world has not fallen ill at some time or another during his life? Apart from this instance of his illness, see if you can find any other reference stating that Imam Zainul Abidin was sick. But we had pictured Imam Zainul Abidin as someone chronically ill, pale-faced, suffering from fever, and as someone bent with weakness and always carrying a walking stick. This is distortion. Imam Zainul Abidin was not any different from Imam Hussein or Imam Baqir in respect of physical health and constitution. The Imam lived for 34 years after the event of Karbala, and he was quite healthy like the others. In fact, he has one of the longest periods of Imamate out of all of the Imams. Of course, it is extremely tragic and heartbreaking that our noble Imam had to experience such incredibly difficult hardships throughout the journey from Karbala to Sham while he was sick. And that is why a lot of people emphasize his sickness and call him Abd Bimar. But in doing so, they often reduce him to just this one specific characteristic, when he should be remembered and revered for so much more. The journey from Karbala to Sham was immensely difficult for Imam Sajjad. Despite his severe illness, he was cruelly chained and paraded along with the women and children through the bazaars and palaces of various cities. Even though the hardships were severe, he always provided strength and solace to the other captives. He comforted his aunt Hazrat Zainab and the grieving women and children, reassuring them and supporting them so they could continue in the face of adversity. In the court of Sham, Imam Zainul Abidin used his tongue as his Zulfiqar to crush Yazid. He declared, "O Yazid, do you think that by killing us you have achieved a victory? By God, you have only succeeded in bringing upon yourself the wrath of Allah. The blood of my father and his companions will never be forgotten." Imam Zainul Abidin's words reverberated through the court, challenging Yazid's legitimacy and laying bare the moral and ethical corruption of his regime. He introduced his pure lineage to the court and exposed the corrupt family of Yazid, and this started the shift of public opinion against Yazid. In Kufa, addressing the people who had betrayed his father, Imam Sajjad said, "O people, I admonish you to beware of this world which is deceptive and unreliable. You're overjoyed with what you have done to us, but you do not realize that you have killed a man who was closer to the Prophet than anyone else." 2 years after Karbala, the event of Harra happened. It was a brutal assault on the city of Medina by Yazid's forces. Yazid's troops looted the city, killed many of the citizens, and violated the sanctity of the Prophet's mosque, leading to immense suffering and devastation for the people of Medina. Amidst this chaos, Imam Zainul Abidin took decisive action to protect the vulnerable. He evacuated the city with his family and many other men and women. bringing them to Yambu, a city owned nearby. This act saved these people's lives, and the women were saved from the horrors of rape and further violence. Just as Prophet Musa was raised in the house of the Pharaoh, the Azadari of Imam Hussein began in the city of the tyrant Yazid. Imam Zayn al-Abidin played a crucial role in teaching people how to mourn for Imam Hussein through majalis and elegies. This tradition, which he and Lady Zainab began in Sham and continued in Medina, is the way we mourn him today. By encouraging the remembrance of their sacrifices through poetry, lamentation, and public gatherings, Imam Zayn al-Abidin kept the spirit of Karbala alive. They ensured that the message of justice, resistance against oppression, and the true teachings of Islam will never be forgotten and will be passed down through generations. After the events of Karbala, the caliphs were terrified by the Ahmadi's power and influence over the people. So they restricted Imam Sajjad from reaching his followers and kept a very close eye on him. The Imam found a way to tackle these constraints. He transferred the teachings of Islam to the masses through Sahifa-e-Sajjadiyya. The Sahifa-e-Sajjadiyya is a collection of du'as, and these du'as cover personal piety, social justice, ethical conduct, gratitude, repentance, and the profound relationship between the believer and God. Through these prayers, Imam Zayn al-Abidin provided a means for Muslims to connect deeply with God and navigate the challenges of life with spiritual insight and moral clarity. He also wrote the Treatise of Rights, which stands as the first actual document of human rights. It addresses the rights of everything in detail, including the rights of your soul, your body, your parents, children, spouses, neighbors, teachers, students, and more. The Treatise of Rights has also influenced how human rights are viewed around the world today. It has formed the basis of modern human rights and ethics in both Western and Eastern society. Imam Zayn al-Abidin laid the foundations for all the sciences throughout the Islamic State as well. He was not allowed to teach students directly, so he would host hundreds of slaves in his home in Medina at a time. He treated these individuals with the utmost care, earning their affection and respect, and all of them embraced Islam under his guidance. Beyond imparting Islamic teachings, the Imam taught them a wide range of sciences and philosophy. Once their education was complete, he would free them, and they would travel across many regions and share their knowledge with others. And so, the system allowed Imam Zayn al-Abidin to reach the entire Islamic State from his home in Medina. Imam Zayn al-Abidin is not just the sick one. To focus only on his illness is to miss the depth of his influence as an Imam and as a leader. Islam wouldn't have survived if it weren't for Imam Zayn al-Abidin and Hazrat Zainab's incredible efforts. The message of Karbala would not have reached the people. It would not have reached us, and Islam would have been destroyed. We wouldn't have our religion, our faith, and our identity if it weren't for them.